Welcome back, fellow Missouri River detectives, to a new investigation brought to you by Missouri River Relief. We'll be looking into the investigation question of whether or not some fish in the Missouri River really can fly. Has anyone ever seen a flying fish? I know some students have mentioned fish that glide over the ocean, but I'm really only interested in flying fish from the Missouri River. Let's see if we can find an example. Take a look at this video clip. I can understand why someone would say these fish are flying. The height of some of these jumps is incredible. I wonder what makes these fish want to jump out of the water like this. It looks like we have video evidence of flying fish in our local rivers after all. Rather than asking, can some fish in the Missouri River really fly? Let's change our question to, why do some fish in the Missouri River fly or jump out of the water the way we saw in the video? These flying fish are actually an invasive species called the silver carp. Invasive species are not originally from the area that they now reside in, and they're usually harmful or dangerous to the native plants and animals who've lived in that habitat for a very, very long time. Maybe you have heard the word invade before. For example, somebody who gets too close to your personal space and invades it. I want you to think of an invasive species like that. Plants or animals that invade the personal space of native plants and animals. These flying silver carp are originally from Asia, but they have escaped into Missouri waterways where they now live among our native species of fish. You may be wondering, why are invasive species harmful? For silver carp in particular, they're harmful because of their ability to breed quickly and grow their population, which makes it easier for them to outcompete native species when looking for food. Silver carp are filter feeder types of fish, like the paddlefish we discussed in Lesson 1. So they eat a lot of the plankton and algae that other native fish lower down on the food web would consume. This takes away from these native fish and ends up affecting not only the filter feeders, but all of the predators who eat those fish as well. Because they are invasive, silver carp have few predators who can eat them in order to lower their population in the Missouri River area. The highlighted red area on this map shows the current locations of silver carp in the United States. You can see that they've already invaded large areas along the Missouri and Mississippi rivers. Their large numbers are causing problems for native species and have pushed scientists to learn more about the silver carp in order to find ways to keep them from invading other areas. One of the most interesting things scientists have learned about the silver carp is how they hear and process sound. To understand silver carp hearing, we must first understand how humans hear. Let's start with sound. All sounds are vibrations that travel through the air like waves. For example, as I am speaking, my vocal cords are vibrating to produce the sound. These vibrations are projected from my mouth to the microphone. The microphone is able to record these vibrations and transform them into data that can be mimicked by the computer's speakers when replayed. Currently, the speakers on the device playing this video are vibrating to recreate my voice. These vibrations travel from the speakers to your ears. When the source of the sound vibrates, the waves travel through the air and to your ear. Your ear receives the sound and passes it through the middle and inner ear, where the information is transmitted to the brain so that you can notice the sound. This process happens in an instant. Sometimes that sound is loud, which causes your brain to make your body have a physical response, like when you get startled by an alarm. Let's all be quiet for a few moments and test our ears. Listen to the room around you. What do you hear? Cup your hands over your ears. Did you notice a slight change in the sounds around you? Silver carp have their own way of hearing underwater. Instead of traveling through the air, vibrating sound waves travel through the water to the fish. Another difference is that silver carp do not have external ears. Instead, the vibrations travel through the carp's skull and pass to their inner ears. It looks a little something like this. A loud sound is made and travels through the water to the carp's inner ears, where the information is transmitted to the brain. To silver carp, loud sounds mean danger. They want to swim away quickly, which means their brains tell them to jump or momentarily fly for a quick escape. But why do silver carp jump? It's not like they can jump up onto legs and run away from a sound like us. Scientists know that silver carp have a special organ which helps them regulate their buoyancy, how they balance in the water. Scientists call it a swim bladder, which can be found in most fish species. Fish can fill their swim bladder with air or release it in order to float properly. The pressure of the air in their bladder is different when they're at varying depths of the water. As they swim closer to the surface, the pressure increases. Have you ever felt your ears pop when driving down a big hill in the car or taking off in an airplane? The popping sensation happens because of a quick pressure change. Something similar happens with a silver carp swim bladder. Scientists have found that it normally takes time for the silver carp to let out some of the air and lessen the pressure. But when startled, silver carp know that flying out of the water and splashing down on the surface can help get rid of the extra air and make it easier for them to swim away and escape. How cool is that? Just like scientists, we now understand how silver carp are able to hear sound, process that information in their brain, and respond to the information by jumping into the air. Native fish do not respond to sound in the same way. They remain in the water, and they do not have the same jumping or flying response that silver carp do. Can we use this information to find ways to stop silver carp spread? Controlling the spread of this invasive species is an issue that requires all hands on deck. So today, we're going to brainstorm some ways that we might help keep silver carp from spreading. Knowing what you've learned about the silver carp, what kind of invention could you create to keep the silver carp from spreading to new rivers and streams? Draw your ideas for this invention on your worksheet. We've investigated the question, why do some fish in the Missouri River fly? And uncovered the truth behind what type of fish leap out of the water and why they do it. So if you're ever on the Missouri River and a silver carp flies out of the water and lands in your boat, you can explain to everyone on board exactly what just happened. Thank you all for joining Missouri River Relief on this investigation into whether or not some fish in the Missouri River really can fly. See you on the river.